I'm going to call this meeting of the County Water District of Billings Heights to order. Would the secretary please call the roll?
Director Ellis,
Here.
Director Erpenbach,
Here.
Director Ewald,
Here.
Director Graves,
Here.
Director Carey,
Here.
President Esmond,
Here. For everyone being present, we have a quorum. And I would like to welcome everybody here tonight. Our first order of business is going to be a public hearing on the proposed rate increase. The board members, I'm gonna, in order to keep things a little more organized, I'm gonna ask before we take up an item, somebody move it and second it, and then it'll be on the agenda. If anyone wants to make a brief presentation about it, they may. And then I want to have a public comment then after that, so that we can. If you want to sign in, please sign in up front.
I'll do it.
If you I want to give you the courtesy of listening to you before the board discusses the issues or make a decision. So when you wish to be recognized, raise your hand and I'll try to keep track and call you, call you in order. And if I don't recall your name, when I call you, please don't be offended if I gesture towards you. I'll do the best I can to be polite. And Director Ewald wanted to be recognized. Director Ewald. Oh, thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Add that, Jim. Director Ellis.
I just wanted, I tried to watch the meeting from last month. And when people were in the audience talking, you couldn't hear them at all on the Zoom. So if you could make sure that people come up and stand by the table and we hand them the microphone.
I will attempt to do that. These are working.
Yeah, you can. Talk. Yeah, that one, what we pass along the board. And if somebody wants to address.
Well, let's grab that one then for the members of the public, bring it down here.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. General Manager. Can I have a motion to adopt the proposed rate increase? Thank you, Director Carey. Is there a second? Ewald seconds. Carey moves. Ewald seconds. Bo, do you want to give a short discussion of what's contained in this rate increase?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for it. I do have copies of the new proposed rate increase.
Can you use that microphone, please?
Yes. I have copies of the new proposed rate increase here, for you. And, the rate increase in summary has to do with the volumetric, with the gallons, per thousand, not meter increase. So, there are two components to your charge monthly rate. One is the meter, one is the what's called the line fee, service line fee, $1.30. And then the volumetric component. And that's the component that we are proposing to increase 12.2%. So where does that come from? That comes from the proposed city increase to Heights Water. And that is directly due to their West End plan. And I'm sure you have read about it in the paper. There was a great article in the Yellowstone last 4th of July. And so they're spending some 60 million on the plant itself. Our board visited the plant and we got a tour. And
Let's cut to the details of the rate increase, please.
okay. Anyway, so that is the reason. So it's a transferring whatever cost we have to our customers.
Thank you. Okay. Would anyone like to speak to the motion? Please come up to the table.
I think everybody can hear me here.
Well, they can't see you on the camera.
Okay,
We have a right to have those
yeah,
people
that's fine.
viewing at home watch as well. When you come up, would you please state your name, give your address? Tell us whether you're a resident or a property owner in the district, and then spell your last name, please.
Jim Brown, BROWN, 2043 Constellation Trail. And I own the place except for the taxes. And I understand that the city has been working on this and that there's been conversation about them incrementally raising the price of water in the rest of the city for several years. And it was mentioned to the water board here that they suggested doing the same thing, and for whatever reason, I'm anxious to hear. It hasn't happened, and all of a sudden, when this new plant goes online, it's not just for the West End, it's for the entire city. That they're gonna have to come up with a pretty significant amount of income to pay for the Heights fair share or whatever that is. That's what I've got there.
Thank you very much. And thank you, Mr. Brown, for being brief. If you could limit your comments to, a minute or two, and please not be repetitive if somebody's made the same comment before, but you can say I second the discussion. Please, sir.
My name's Tim Goodridge, GOODRADGE, and I reside at 2049 Interlochen Drive. I'm opposed to a rate increase. I understand why you're doing it, but it just doesn't seem fair to me that I'm paying more for the same water than everybody else in the city of Billings is. And my understanding is this is just the first of several rate increases that we're gonna be absorbing over the years. And so now I'm paying, so I just looked at how much I'm paying for my 13,824 gallons from the June bill. So in 2025, it cost me $81.64. In 2026, at the 12.2% rate, it'll cost me $91.44. And then in 2027, when Billings charges you 28.4% increase, it'll cost me $117.04. And that compares to the same amount of water that a Billings ratepayer not in the Heights Water District would pay, of $81.08 in 2026 and $82.74 in 2027. So that doesn't make sense to me that I'm paying more than everybody else in the same city that I'm residing in.
Thank you. Who else would like to speak? Please come up, sir.
John Day, 848 Lynch, DEA,
Last name, sir?
O'Day,
O'Day.
DEA. I'm opposed to the rate increase. I don't think it's fair to everybody else, and I concur with the last gentleman who spoke. I think that it's poor planning on the city part. I know years ago when the city council was looking at tier ratings for this, they were confused and befuddled on the system in the first place, but they were all for increasing the rate. Now it's come down to we're gonna jack up the rates out here, and we also wanna do it across the city for poor planning on the city council's part. And it's just being transferred to everybody out here. That's not right.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Further comments from the public? Yeah, please.
Doug Walter, 1109 Victory,
And how do you spell your last name, Mr. Walter?
Walters. Just what that gentleman was saying. Why are we paying for something that's going on the west side? That's a question that I can't figure it out. We pay for our system here, we're still paying for it and everything, and that, but because somebody built something in the west side, what are they gonna do if they build something in Laurel? Charge us too? It's just not right for them to hit the public that's already been here and that lives here and paid for all this. It's not right to make us pay for something that they wanna do on the west side.
Thank you. Further comments? Yes, absolutely.
I'm Patricia Walters, and I live at 1109 Victory Avenue here in Heights. And my question is, one of the reasons my husband is concerned and I'm concerned is that we're retired, we live on Social Security. They have just deducted some money off of my Social Security. We can't pay for any more money on any water, whether it's east, north, south, or west. We cannot do any more bills like that. Every one of the utility bills have gone up. And every time we get a little leak, there's about 3,000 gallons of water, they come over and have to have, this is getting ridiculous now. And I'm very angry because they took money out of my Social Security check and I'm having a heck of a time trying to find out why. I have an appointment at Social Security for the third time now, on the 24th. And the girls up there are trying to help me to find this out. I have no idea why they took that off. And so this is gonna just snowball. This is gonna snowball. Trust me, the government is going to snowball with all this crap going on. And the reason I say crap is because we watch it every day on TV. And I think probably the rest of you do too. Until you can't stand it anymore and you turn it off or you throw something at your TV. But this is, we don't even go anywhere. We don't work. My husband has health problems. And I have a few health problems. We cannot do this anymore. It doesn't matter who passes it, who's what to do. You can't get any money from the Walters family at 1109 Victory Avenue. I'm just gonna say it that way. I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings. I'm just telling you like it is, okay?
Thank you,
And
ma'am.
it is what it is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Further comments?
Paul Evanson, EVANSON, 2068 Constellation Trail. And then on my own, I can see we have a lot of angry people here, a lot of really concerned people. I think there needs to be some better planning in the future. Seems like things weren't planned out very well and thought out very well, and now all of a sudden we're getting stuck with these rate increases, and it's scary. And like as Walter said, we're all have a limited budget that we have to deal with, and what do we do? Just shut off our water and let everything go brown, and we don't have many options. So I'm just hoping that you guys can figure out a better way to do this, because it certainly isn't working the way it is. Thank you.
Thank you. So there was another gentleman, right?
My name is Craig Favero, Favero, live at 309 Stillwater Lane, Wilmington. I worked 40 plus years in construction for MVP, and we've built numerous municipal projects with a lot of water line and things in the Heights through the years, all those bench jobs, Main Street, other Hilltop, all these things in the last couple of years. And I know what kind of costs are involved with infrastructure. And I feel like the city has been cutting getting a big break because I feel like personally that we ought to get a discount on water because we're funding our own infrastructure. But yet the water rates for the city as a whole are based on all the costs they incur, which includes all the infrastructure for a lot of people that don't live in the Heights. And I don't think that's right. We're their biggest customer. I think between the hundreds of millions of dollars we probably spent over the life of the district for all of our own infrastructure, that we're not being dealt with fairly, in my opinion. And I think if anything, we ought to lobby for some sort of relief. I understand, the costs incurred with that West End water plant. Somebody had to, ante up for the current water plant and things like that. If they're gonna retire the water plant downtown on Belknap, that'd be one thing, but they're gonna use it in conjunction at peak times and as a backup unit. So, there's obligation there, but I just think that we're kind of a stepchild or often overlooked. And then if it ever came down to annexing us into the city, we definitely ought to get a break because the city has cut a fat hog on not having to maintain all this stuff out here in the Heights, gate valves, water valves, fire hydrants, everything that goes along with the underground pipe. And they haven't, had to incur those costs. So I just think that they have a cake and eat it too situation right now. And I think that, something ought to be looked at giving us a little bit of a relief because we've earned it. And I've lived out here in the Heights since the '70s, so. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Favero. Further comments? Nora?
Good evening. My name is Dan Beerfaller. I live at 1904 Wentworth Drive with my wife. We're property owners.
Can you spell your name, please?
V is in Victor, IERTHALER.
Thank you.
We moved into our current residence 25 years ago. At that time, it was an empty lot full of weeds. It was an eyesore. Through a lot of time, effort, money, and sweat equity, I've turned that into an oasis. It's got beautiful mature trees, bushes, it's a half acre, it's pretty big. And I work hard to maintain it. Part of that maintenance is water. Our biggest utility and our biggest concern with utilities now is water. We didn't use much water in June because it was a good month. Our water bill was $340. My wife and I have had discussions about selling our house and moving to the West End because we cannot continue to pay these water rates that you're talking about increasing substantially. We can't afford it. We're retired and we have good retirements, but I can't afford to be making $500 and $600 water bills. And either I stop using the water and the yard dies. You're gonna have 40, 50, 60-foot trees that are dead. Instead of a lawn, it's gonna be a weed infested lot that's gonna be an eyesore to the neighborhood, and my neighbors are gonna be pissed off at. Which is why we talk about leaving, because I know if I go to the West End, I'm not gonna be paying these rates. I don't understand all the nuances of how we got here, but it appears from a distance was a lot of mismanagement that's now being heaped on us. The other question I have is this tiered system. I mean, do we have a water shortage? Why is it that the more water you use, the higher rate you pay? I mean, the more you use, it gets bigger and bigger. And understand, I do what I can to limit our water. I have a smart water system. I turn it off when I can. I don't have it on all the time. I use water barrels. I've looked into wells, but I'm told that in the area we live, if you dig a well, you're probably going to pay for an expensive hole. It's going to be salt. I've done everything I can do and I'm now out of options. And I listened to all these rate increases and I can't afford it. And I'm wondering why all the developers out on the West End, the property owners, the people that are, they're financially gaining from all this development out there. Why aren't, as a part of their investment, why aren't they paying for this? Instead, us up on the heights, we're paying for it from what appears to be years of mismanagement. So the reality for us is, if this continues, we're looking at leaving. Because it's the single highest utility we have, and I don't need the stress in my life. And if my yard goes to crap, it won't be my problem. I'll go live over there with the rest of them, and I won't worry about it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Further comments, please? Further comments? Going once. Twice. 3 times. Thank you. So I'm gonna close the hearing and we'll go to discussion on the motion. Director Ellis.
I'm probably coming from a different point than many members of the board, but our rates are currently significantly above what the city pays, and it's not what you're seeing. For your meter rate, you pay $19.70 a month for the 3/4 inch meter that goes to your house. If you were in the city, you'd pay $8.75. That's 225% above what the city pays. So the increase for just the meters is anywhere from 146% to 440% higher than what the city charges. The water rate has been comparable to the city, but that's a function that the city has been increasing the water rates for the last 8 years to cover the West End water plant. The West End water plant, we're not paying for it. We're only paying our share. That is going to produce all the water for the entire city in the winter. We're not charged for the infrastructure that the city puts in that doesn't directly benefit us. We pay for the water plant. We pay for the infrastructure that gets it to us. We pay for the pumps. But legally, they can only charge us for what benefits us. So the tiers are there theoretically for to support conservation. Frankly, it doesn't work anywhere in the country. It's just a way that generates a lot of money for water districts, but the city does it, so do we. The other thing, the system development fees, we did not follow the law in establishing them. They're dramatically higher than the city. And the fire lines are charged annually by the city, monthly by us. So those don't impact you, but for businesses, those fees are 194% to 545% higher than the city. As a result, we've been told by both developers and by realtors that our housing prices are suppressed. We don't get business development in the Heights. We've got a Heights neighborhood plan going on from the city, in which both Big Sky Economic Development, the chamber, and local business owners have said the Heights Water District is a barrier to development in the Heights for businesses. So we have a real problem. I'm going to vote no on the rate increase, and that's because I don't think we need it. The last rate increase was 14%. That was based on the assumption that the city was going to increase our rates by 48.6% over a 2-year period. Then the COVID hit, there was huge skyrocketing. The water system was moved forward. When we now have been told it will be 63% over the next 3 years, but the cost of water is only 50% of our cost of operation. Over a 13-year period, we average 53%. So when the city increases 12.2%, we don't need to increase 12.2%. It's only a 6.1%. Our problem is we have a lot of other spending, and we have people have talked about mismanagement. There's a lot of infrastructure in the Heights that has to be done. The current financial records show that we have $9,898,357 in assets currently. Most of that's just flat out cash. A little bit is some office supplies. And last year, based on the increase that we made in December of 2023, we made $1,570,183 So we charged you way more than it costs our cost of operation, and we lost 47% of our water for a good many months. And spent at least an additional $360,000 buying water that just ran into the street. So I don't believe we need the rate increase. The only way that we're gonna get competitive with the West End is if we're able to consolidate with the city and look at coming in at the same rates. As long as we're operating separately, we can't compete. Because the city's allowed to charge us 3% beyond what their costs are. Because we're not their residents. And we've got a whole cost system that's on top of wholesale water. You can't be a reseller and compete with the wholesaler. We resell the water that the city gives us. So I'm gonna vote no because I don't think it's necessary. I think the rate increases that were made last year were exorbitant. At the last month meeting, we said that system development fees and fire line fees would be removed from the structure. And then they were posted online. We were told that the rate increase was 12.5%. That's what was posted online. Today, it was changed to 12.2%. They did the whole new rate structure. You were told that you could email the board, but the board email didn't work. So if people emailed us, we didn't get it. The whole thing was a disaster. So I am voting no. I don't think we need the money this year. If we don't consolidate, we will be in a lot of trouble because our rates will be very high. I'm like you, I have a very large yard, so our fees are expensive. I don't think you can justify 500% higher than the city of Billings. By state law, you can only charge the cost of providing services. I think we're close on residential, even though the rates are high. We are not close on business. So my vote is no.
Thank you, Director Ellis. Director Carey.
Thank you. Chairman Eshman, I just want to rebut few pieces that Dan went over here. The base rate for the city, yes, it's a lot less. They have roughly 36,000 meters and we have 6,000 meters. It takes manpower to go out and look at those meters, to read them, to make sure they're operating. So that's a very unfair. It's not, you need one man for every 100 meters. You've got other things to do with that. She's gonna vote no. So now what? We're gonna get this increase whether we like it or not. We could all vote no. Guess what? They're gonna charge us. They're gonna charge us. We're gonna take it out of our $10 million set aside. That's gonna go real fast because that $10 million is supposed to change out our 50 and 60-year-old pipe that's in the ground. And that's supposed to be starting. So by saying no, we might as well just throw the keys inside the door and walk away. Sorry, guys, you're gonna be out of water. That's it. Somebody wants the system, they're gonna have to take it over. They're gonna have it recertified. It's gonna cost you a lot more because you own the system. This governmental body sitting here is your spokesperson. We answer to you. Yet, we also have to get your product in-house and shipped to you. That takes money. We also have to make sure that infrastructure is there when you turn the tap on, because I'm pretty sure if you turn your electricity on in the morning and your AC doesn't work, you're a little bit hot under the collar in more than one way, and you're probably going to call them. If you turn the spigot on when you get up in the morning and your shower is dry, you're going to call too. But there won't be anybody here. So this is the situation that the district is in right now, at least from my viewpoint. Everything's been pushed and pushed and pushed for years. Now we're in this situation. Yes, the city is building a water treatment plant on the west end. Yes, it's going to service us along with everybody else in the community of Billings. They've already been paying. They've been paying for the last 8 years. The previous board, the previous directors that were your voices chose not to do anything about that. So it's pushed back this far now. I guess we could push back further and just have them turn the tap off. The only way I can see anything happening is if the city makes a deal that they will take over it, the water district itself, and operate it. You would then be paying the same as the people on the west end, all the way from your meter to your shower head. And that is, I want to go through the public comments.
Mr. Director, perhaps we should let the other directors call, and our job is to, listen to comments. I don't know, we need to respond to everyone. We'll let some of the other directors have comments if they wish. Further comments from the board? Director Ewald.
Thank you, President Esmond. So, somebody said something about the cost of the infrastructure. City doesn't pay for infrastructure when it goes in. The developer that's developing the area pays for it. The only thing the city would do is if a main gets upsized more than they need for that, then the city pays that upsize. That's what we do here too. If somebody's developing, they pay for the infrastructure. Once it's in, now it's the city's or the Heights Water District's job to take care of it and maintain it. So the cost, way back when, the district probably paid to put the stuff in. I wasn't here then, I don't know, but the way it runs now, the developer ends up paying to put the infrastructure in. The cost. Gentleman was speaking about a contractor. Boy, those guys don't come cheap anymore, and neither does the pipe. We got a quote, $636 a foot. That's $3.3 million per mile. We have 105 miles of pipe in the ground. 50% of that is AC pipe, and the rest is either PVC or ductile iron. We have 2 lines that run up Main Street. We have a 10-inch on the west side and a 6-inch on the east side. If you look at the history of breaks on our mains in the Heights, that's where the breaks are happening. We just patched one out in front of Don's gas station here by Pemberton. A week ago, 2 weeks ago, something like that. And there's another leak just further south of it. If we have to replace one of those lines on Main Street, there's 3 miles. And I don't think you'll get Main Street on a state highway. I don't think you'll get it done for $636 a foot. I'm thinking that's gonna go up a little bit more with all the traffic and all the regulations that the state puts on you. So this $10 million we got sitting in the bank, if we have to replace that 10-inch on Main Street, there ain't nothing left in the bank. The cost of everything is going up. You know that when you go to the store, when you do this, when you do that, the cost of everything keeps going up. Hopefully someday it'll stop, but it doesn't. It just keeps going. And for the people that think they need to have lawn like in Hawaii or Florida or South Carolina or someplace like that, it's just lush green all the time. The rainfall in Billings, Montana is real close to equivalent to Las Vegas, Nevada. That's fact. How many green lawns do you see in Las Vegas, Nevada? Most of the stuff is rock. And you can attest to it last week. It was like an oven out here last week before these last 2 days hit us. That wind at 96 degrees, you can't pour enough water on that grass to keep it nice and lush and green. That's the reason for the tiers, for conservation. It's not just because the river's going down. There's Yellowstone's never gone dry that I know of. But the cost to produce that water, all the additives they have to put in it to treat it go up. And so when you keep pouring that water out there, that's more expensive to get it all treated. So there's a lot of things involved in getting that water out that tap and to your flowers or whatever, but costs don't go down. I'm done.
The director, you will. Directors? Director Urban.
At this point in time, I've listened to you. And I've been learning more and more about the operation here. I am going to vote for the rate increase. But at the same time, I'm going to work at looking at the operational expenses here, see if we can lower those. And then the next time a rate increase comes up, we may be able to lower that. And to get to that deal, we can. It just is more expensive because we're a small operation. And it's just unfortunate that that's the way it is. But I will work to lower expenses to see if we can do some things with rates in the future.
Thank you. Director Graves.
One question, we have almost $10 million in reserve to help repair things and this and that. And then consolidate with the city was discussed twice. So we're just gonna get that $10 million to the city when we consolidate.
Hasn't been decided.
I don't know. It's been discussed tonight, it's brought up twice. So what's gonna happen to our assets like that?
Director Graves, I can't answer that question because that's, you know, that is all gonna be part of a long process of negotiation. You know, and some give and take. That's the, if there's interest on their part, which we have not had an expression of yet. So you know, for me, it would be a guess and I'm not in the guessing game.
And another statement is, you comparison, Laurel went up 16%. You saw that this year. They're going up 16% the next year, and then they're going up 6%. So it's just not us that are having to pay these increases. Laurel, you can go through other small water districts that are in the same boat.
Thank you. Well, I'll give my comments too, and then I'll allow Director Carey to give some responses if he wants to, point by point, but you know, this board is in a difficult position. Because, you know, we have a contract with the city on what we pay for the water. Now, we don't have, I'm a lawyer by training, and I believe that you honor your contracts. You know, I think if you ignore them, you know, you end up paying a price. I think it's bad for society. So if people just start ignoring the law, ignoring contracts, and ignoring commitments. So we're in a between a rock and a hard place as a board at this point. You know, I'm retired myself. You know, I've gone through that process with my folks, my wife's mother. You know, I understand the difficulty of making, you know, things meet and having to make, you know, very difficult choices. This board is going to have to make a difficult choice as well. We raised our hand, took the job, and it's not all roses. So with respect to, you know, the yard issue, I served in the legislature for a long time, and a good friend of mine in the legislature, Senator Brad Hamlin, carried a bill to legalize gray water systems. And they are an upfront cost, but they are a means for you to trap your gray water, not all of it, but some of it, and then you can reuse that for exterior irrigation purposes. So, if you plan on being in your home for a long time and you can amortize it out, you want to preserve that green lawn, you only pay for that water once. You don't have to pay high price for pristinely treated drinkable water in order to water your. Just a suggestion. It won't work for everybody. The board needs to keep the district sound. I am concerned about the condition of the cast iron pipes up and down Main Street. There does seem to be a pattern there. We've had testing that was done early last fall that revealed we've got apparently AC pipe that's in, some pretty bad condition, short lifespans. These things are all piling up at once. So our manager wasn't here, this board wasn't here when, all this maintenance and pipe replacement study and replacement didn't occur. We're here now, we got to deal with it. And I hope that you understand it's not pleasant for any of these directors to do the hard thing that they think is necessary to keep the district in a sound position and fulfill the duty we have to continue to deliver water. So that's my speech. Thank you. For any more comments from the director? Director Carey?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm just gonna make one comment on each of the, it'll be a very short comment. Start with Mr. Brown. And you asked why wasn't it put in before? And what, when you say before, Jim, what are you speaking of on that?
I understand that the city has been incrementally raising the rates on the rest of the town for several years.
Okay.
My understanding is the Heights has not done that. They have, as I think if someone mentioned earlier, they have postponed it, pushed it forward, whatever word you want to use.
Okay.
Now, we can't change the past. We all know that.
Right. I just want to explain the past. They accepted the contract that was offered by the city for so much per 1,000 gallon or per 1,000 meters. And in that was nothing, they could not charge us anything because the contract says until what they're charging for goes into use. In other words, the West End, they could not legally charge us for that West End project until it started to produce water or affected us. And that's pretty common with government entities. You can't pass something along until it's actually usable. Woodridge opposed paying more for water, and I think we all do. And the district water is more expensive, always has been more expensive. You were just paying for it in a different way. There was a time when you got 3,000 gallons of water, or 3,000.
Yeah.
And you were charged for it.
Yeah.
That was built in to your base rate. But everybody got 3,000 gallons of water for nothing. Nobody said anything. That was good. Mr. O'Day, the tier rate, and I think that Jeff answered that. It is not right for the majority of the people. It doesn't do what the intent is there to conserve water. You conserve it because it bites like heck, and you can't hardly sit down because it bites so bad. That's the only incentive there is in a tiered system. Part of the tiered system is because we have pipelines that are run underground that can only carry X amount of water. That's it. They can't carry any more.
And if everybody wants to get on the same time, but for half the day, more than likely, we can't keep up with every area and every neighborhood of this, where the Heights serves. And the Heights water now, to be frank, serves all of the east side of Main Street. Very little of the west side. From north of, from Lake Elmo to Main Street, yes, Heights water. From Wicks, only on the north side, Heights water. And then it jogs back and forth, back down. From Glen Eagles, everything west, that whole new subdivision, that's city. It's city water, it's not Heights water. And that's what most people up here are not aware of. We are a small piece of the puzzle up here. In that little area, they have more customers than we do. Said income, from the Walters family, we're paying for the West End. Yes, we will be starting to pay for the West End. And we have to and deserve to pay for the West End because that water is gonna flow into your home. That's the only way you're gonna get water.
We have a facility down there by the road.
No, please, if you wish to be the chair, if you wish to say something, raise your hand and the chair will recognize you. It said the public hearing has been closed. Please don't interrupt. Director Perry.
The city of Billings, we and a group of us were out at the water treatment site. Believe it or not, that is uphill from here. That's a higher elevation where that water treatment plant is than here. So it will flow down here for the most part. At Belknap facility, it is pushed up here. So that is gonna take effect over the next few years and prices will level out unless the city boomerangs the population. Not much else, mismanagement, however you see that, I'm sure we're all guilty of it. So that's.
Thank you, Director Perry. Director Ewald, you have
Yeah, thank you.
additional comment?
I just got short.
Give everybody one quick.
We got information from the city just 2 weeks ago where they are going to be working on rebuilding Wicks Lane from Hawthorne to Bitterroot. And that's 2,700 feet. Now, remember what I said about how much it costs a mile? 2,700 feet is half a mile. So that'd be approximately $1.8 million. This 12.2% increase. We sold $6 million worth of water last year. 12.2% figures out to 720,000. So it'd take 3 years with this 12.2% increase just to pay. But and the only reason we would do it is because once you take the blacktop off and the streets all tore up, that's the time to replace it. And I believe that's AC pipe there too. So if you're running a business, it costs money.
Mr. Graves.
The board has raised the water rates before, but we kept it under 6%. Wasn't it 5.6? We raised it.
Well, it was raised 5% originally, because then you didn't have to do a public hearing.
Yeah, and at least now we're having a public hearing is my point about it. The other raises were just voted on because we were below the level of having a public meeting.
Thank you. Public hearing is closed, Jim. We'll have public comment on non-agenda items at a later point in the meeting, if that's all right. Thank you. Board, I'd like to move to a vote. I'm gonna ask to recuse, separate the volumetric increase on the bulk resale rate because I am in the bulk resale water business and I don't want to be subject to conflict of interest charges. So I'd like you to cast a vote on that portion of the rate increase first, and then we'll join you for a vote on the balance of the rate increase. Okay,
So you, that's all for that motion.
yes, my motion is to separate then the bulk water rate increase of 12% so that I can recuse myself. Thank you. Director Ellis, are you seconding my motion?
No. Because that, you can.
Doug did, okay, thank you.
But
Director Ellis.
in June, the vote was that we would not include the system development fees or the fire line fees in the rate schedule. Because we have significant problems with those. So those were removed. We should not be voting on those or filling those until those issues have been resolved.
You stated your point, thank you. Okay. I'll call the vote is on the volumetric increase of 12.2% on the bulk resale customers.
Director Ellis,
No.
Director Urbanbach,
Yes.
Director Ewald,
Yes.
Director Graves,
No.
Director Carey.
Yes.
Motion passes 3-5.
3-2.
3-2, I'm sorry. And my math is good. Okay. I will take up the balance of the volumetric rate increase.
Director Ellis.
No.
Director Urbanbach,
Yes.
Director Ewald,
Yes.
Director Graves,
No.
Director Carey,
Yes.
Director Esmond,
Yes,
4-2.
motion passes 4-2. So. Thank you, board members. Thank you, members of the public. It's been about 50 minutes. What I'd like to do is take a five-minute break so we can reset it. If anybody came here just for the hearing on the water rate increase, that you can head home. We'll start again in about 5 minutes. And we'll move the balance of the meeting and I'll open it up for not attended public comments. Thank you.
Can we,
Director
in case you leave, the August 20th meeting is Morrison Merrily coming and presenting the consolidation study. So that, that's the big issue out there. So if you're interested in consolidation and how they think it will impact, that won't lead to answers to all the questions. Need to be at the meeting on August 20th.
We're in recess for 5 minutes. Thank you.
Yeah.
It doesn't rain.
Probably should look at that.
When
it rains, it rains hard there. When it rains, we get like we did here yesterday.
Yeah.
And it rained all day, but it didn't rain. That's rainfall. If it's a 5-inch rainfall and it's a 1/4-inch rainfall, it takes a lot of 1/4 inches to make 5 inches. So it's a different rainfall maybe, but it's, we're a high desert is what we are. And get this heat that we get in the summertime, like that last thing degrees, you can't get nothing. I went down there to visit him a lot of times, and the only thing that's nice about it is it's not humid down there like it is like back where everything rains or something.
Well, yeah, but they did put, they put, meters for, here's them on. They're over wallets. that, you know.
That's been a brochure.
Probably good to hear them.
Yeah,
Right. Go with that, $100, yes. I'm just telling you what they have for I got. It's very easy. I mean,
It's just like, you can't like fireworks. Yeah, so lost. How many fireworks? Yeah, there you go. Say food for like.
I do know, I would, but who we really like, but anyway, you got 500% higher. Higher. You've got specific documents. And there's. Oh, no, that, you definitely have to. That's why every time they open it up. Right. We've got to start the cost of the heating and replacement. We do that's
Oh, hell yeah, I can't. We would have to, yeah, I'm not rigid like we try on a better.
There we go. Get it all right here, sitting down at the table.
Why you gonna take all that?
Oh.
You don't understand, right? Opening up, we don't really want to carry new road up and then something all that. So we would pay for that portion of that new place.
We can make about it.
Yeah, but the difference is, we're not their customers. So they have to get going. It's for business, maybe for us. Yeah, I mean, it's just doesn't make any sense. So my example is you've got a main line that runs up with. This is capital. You've got a main line that runs up with. I think the design of the box.
Go get my deal, I got my
So-
drink.
I have a little. For 7 years, I sold.
Oh.
They want in the market, really, they force it. The director that time was supposed to be Dean. And he loved that crowd. And nobody really knows about it.
Right now. No,
It just seems like they do that search here.
Yeah.
and my drink just won't come in.
Yeah, basic items.
It's working.
It was sugar to put in, but you can't buy them. It doesn't leave it flat.
And it is.
We don't worry about it.
Significantly, you know, like, you get a good rain like this, the fire system program, and the one, and
Yeah.
it's a bit of moisture in the air.
It's got, it's not too.
Yeah, when it's flat.
Well, it is where I'm at.
Yeah, but once
I'm waiting to hear from the guy. He's on the side, got a part of it.
Yeah. Next year, the city goes back to about 20.
Was, he was,
I've had that.
A lot of people don't even show up here.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I guess
Then it's gonna really, it's gonna make us kind of and this.
And they called me.
Flush us out of it. You guys work.
This landing.
There's not-
Right.
how much is that gonna cost?
I just sent him a text. Hey, back there.
You know, we can have
Myself.
Theoretically, yeah, I understand.
It wasn't really.
Time to eliminate. Like, from the outside looking in, that's one more detail. Try to make it.
So let me ask you this.
Evelyn. Evelyn, please.
Release, bring her.
Business.
Okay. Scott, is our meeting still being recorded?
He's in the restroom.
Okay. Stay in recess till we make sure the meeting's being recorded, and of course, it's Montana law.
That's what we did. Yes.
Yeah.
Shut it off.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I didn't.
No, we're fine. Audio is working. Thank you. Okay, no. Okay, we're gonna begin the balance of our meeting. This portion of the meeting is reserved for public comment on non-agenda items. If you look at the back of the agenda, there are items that we will discuss through the balance of the meeting after the approval of the minutes. If there's something other than those items that you would like to discuss with us, now is your time. We request that you limit your comments to 3 minutes, speak once and cover your point. And are there any comments from members of the public? Please approach. Mr. Goodrich, welcome back.
Yeah, I just, I see that there's something on there about consolidation, not exactly sure what it is. I'll pay attention to it now. I'm late to the party here like everybody else is. But from my point of view, looking from 30,000 feet, and we're all part of the city. I don't know how we can continue as a small water district to afford the miles and miles of replacement pipes, so long-term, I think the consolidation is probably the only solution for the Heights Water District. And hopefully we can make some kind of deal with the city where, you know, we'll all be paying the same rate. Doesn't matter if it's on the west end or in the Heights.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I give you plaudits for taking such a crafty job. Thank you.
Careful what you wish for. Further comments from the public? None. Mr. Brown, now's your time. Thank you.
Based on what we've heard and what we see, I'm along with the last gentleman. It looks to me like consolidation from the outside at the moment is the thing to look at. I mean, we're supposed to be part of the city, although we've all been through things. If you've lived in the Heights very long, and I've lived in the Heights for more than 30 years, where you don't feel like you're part of the city other than when you write the tax bill. But it looks to me from the outside looking in, that might be the way to look. Go.
Thank you. Further comments on non-agenda items? Yes, sir.
Lyle Fogle and
Lyle, would you spell both your first and your last name?
Lyle, and
Thank you.
where I live in independent subdivision, it's out by the independent school.
Great
It's
school.
the subdivision's 30 years old, or at least that, and the fire plugs there have never been tested. I was here about 4 years ago and asked if the member isn't here anymore, or the fellow that was running it then. He said, well, because I had gone to the fire department and they said, no, you need to go to the Heights Water because you're in that district. And I was told that, well, somebody has to pay for that water that's coming out of the plugs. And that's kind of the end of this discussion right there. But I will tell you where there's a leak right now. By the Heights Motel on Main Street. It quit leaking, it quit coming to the surface, but it's been leaking there for 3 or 4 years. There'd be ice in the gutter and everything there. But all of a sudden now it's not, but nobody's dug it up and fixed it. He's found a way to channel this away. Same way with this big leak that happened out there, lots of water was lost. But I can tell you the Heights is that's the way it is. because my dad had an irrigation leak at his house. He got a bill for $900 for water, which we never even had the sprinkler system running. But what happened was we found out, and I went around the house, couldn't find any water, nothing in the basement. We finally, I went from where it comes out of the house, the line, followed it down, and just a tiny bit below the gravel, it was a little wet. Dug it up, and it was the irrigation guy where he put a pipe together. That joint came loose, didn't come out and break loose, but it was shooting sideways. He had a $900 a month bill every month. But anyway, that water never came to the surface. That's the way the Heights is. So if you got a leak out here, you'll never know it half the time. I guess you guys know that now after this huge leak that ran for how many months. But anyway, but my question is, when will the fire flood system, I know I read it, that it's kind of it's on the schedule.
We are getting a report on that during the manager's report, and if you want to hang around for that, you'll get it. What's the plan is. I thank you, and thank you for bringing your suspicions of the leak to the staff attention. Yes, very well.
Is that right next to Interstate Diesel?
Yeah, right in that.
Okay, they've dug that up several times and it's not our water.
Okay.
So
I thought
I saw that, I've seen that too.
Yeah, it just disappeared in the last year, stopped. Wet pavement, but even during the winter, there'd be ice build up there, right? Okay. I'm glad it's not hot water. Because it's our fault.
Further comments from the public? Not seeing anything. Thank you very much for coming forward. Next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes of the June 18th meeting. Can I ask somebody make a motion?
I move to accept the minutes.
Second. Motion by Ewald, second by Graves. Is there discussion? Director Ellis.
Well, Lena and I talked a little bit ahead of time. The first set of minutes that were put in didn't have any corrections. The second set seemed to have some corrections, and Lena said she corrected them all, but I don't think they ever got put in the minutes, so. I'm willing to approve the minutes, but I want to make sure that what we put in the book and what we send to the county is actually has all the corrections on it. Because Lena got the corrections, made them, but I don't think they ever got put in the agenda.
Well, I think that I'm gonna make a motion to amend the minutes of the ones that I submitted. Right
Okay.
now.
So can we just wait and do it next month? I mean, there were so many errors.
You could make that substitute motion. We've done that in the past.
Okay, I'd like to make a substitute motion that we withhold voting on the June 18th minutes until you and I have had a chance to confirm that that the errors that we identified have been corrected.
Is there a second of that?
Second.
Members of the board, there's a substitute motion before us. It's in order. The substitute motion is to defer approval of the minutes of June 18th until our next meeting for the purpose of reviewing and correcting. Director Carey?
Let me ask Director Ellis a question.
This is discussion period.
Are these substitute corrections, or are they spelling of a
They're-
surname or
they're
a
both.
date?
They're both. What I'm most concerned about are the substance of ones, and I just think it's better to just withhold and make sure that, because Lena thinks she made them, I didn't see them, so I think we just have a breakdown in communication.
Okay, if this goes on a lot of times. If we could have our secretary, when she sends it out, start with version 1. Version Roman numeral 2, 3, and then there's no question.
Which set you're looking at. I think that's a great suggestion, Director Carey. And I'll work with our secretary, who is a direct employee of this board. And we'll get a process in place. So that nothing gets transmitted to the staff until the boards, until we get some internal board approval. Okay?
Sounds good.
Yeah, and save her time and just right now she's under a flat rate contract, which I think we may need to adjust. We'll take a look at it based upon how much activity we might have the next year, so. Anyway, thank you. Let's go, let's try a voice vote. We have a substitute motion before us to defer approval of the minutes of June 18 until next month for purposes of making substantive and clerical corrections. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Judgment of the chair is the motion passed. Thank you. We'll next move to the consent agenda. Are there any requests for separation? Director?
Yeah.
Yes,
Those interstate bills, I'd like to separate them for discussion.
okay. Any other separations? I've got a question about the Stifel statement and the Stiff statement, but I'll ask the manager. That I think we can still go ahead and approve the consent agenda. Yes. Director
Thank
Duval.
you, Mr. President. I make a motion to approve prepaid bills, except the separated ones with interstate. And 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 of the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion to adopt the consent agenda except for items 1A and B. Made by Ewald, seconded by Erpenbach.
He also didn't move to approve number 9, which is Steeple. So,
No,
There's no number.
oh, okay, I've got Steeple as 9. I'm sorry, I would like to separate Steeple.
6.
okay,
Mr. Chairman,
Director Terry.
I would make a substitute motion then to approve consent agenda items 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7.
And the prepaid bills
And prepaid bills.
other than
Other than
1A and B. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Carrie, second by Ewald. All those in favor indicate by adopting the consent agenda, all indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Judgment of the chair is motion passed. Okay, let's go to the separations. Interstate engineering invoice 58406, Director Ewald.
All right, back in May of 15th, 2024. We got the Northwest Pressure Zone System preliminary engineering report. And at that time, they picked number 4. Alternative number 4 is the one that would be the most optimal by a long ways. And then through some discussion and things and complication of the double check valve, it got put on the back burner and said it wasn't feasible. And then upon later, we passed a resolution that said that that we wouldn't do alternative 4, and then we got new information that says we don't need the double check valve, we can do it with a single valve, because that's all there is at Walter Pump Station, and it's the same water. So now we get a bill for $25,000, almost $800 to do the engineering on that again. And I'm trying to figure out how come we're paying so much when the only thing you have to worry about from the one on May 13th was cutting it from the double check valve to a single check valve, a smaller valve and all that. And now we're paying $25,000 to do that study over again.
Would you like the general manager to respond?
Well, I'm just trying to figure out how come we're paying that. Somebody.
Mr. Anderson? And if you wish to defer the answer to the questions to one of your staff members, you may.
We had a meeting, Josh and I yesterday with Interstate to review these bills. And, in detail, and we had to change a couple of things that we didn't think was right. But the main reason for this billing is that we did not get the hydraulics from the city. So we had a meeting, this is almost a month ago, with the city, their engineer, HDR, and we're probably 12 people in that meeting to talking about how this would be possible, the location of this meter ball, which would be rather sizable. But the hydraulics was the key. The city has still not come up with the hydraulics that we need. So during that meeting, there was 3 scenarios. And I talked to Lewis a couple of weeks ago, and I asked Lewis, you gotta help us on this. We still do not have the hydraulics that tabulates for us to make this feasible, okay? So, he gave the HCR call, and now it's in locomotion. We spent a lot of time assuming a lot of things, that they would have the pressure and the flow. And they have never been able to verify that. In the meanwhile, we spent a lot of money on our hydraulics. And is something you want to add or deduct, Josh, from that meeting?
I was just gonna say, short answer, in 24, the modeling wasn't ran because it was decided that when they said that we had to have the DCV, they made it unfeasible so that the modeling wasn't done. So now we have to readdress it and run all the modeling scenarios.
President.
Director Eval.
Thank you, Mr. President. When they give us this on, after May 13th or on May 13th, it says alternative number 4 is the one that's the best suited for it. It said nothing about the double check valve not meeting the hydraulic, all that crap. And as far as the city side on hydraulics, we should not be getting charged from Interstate for what the city's doing. That's their baby. It's not Interstate Engineering. And I'm going like, something's just, $25,000 is a lot of money.
So anyway, I addressed this with Lewis. We can't do this. You have to provide the hydraulics. And HDR said, hey, we don't have a work order to do that work. Well, Lewis, this is silly. We have to know this before we're gonna spend $500,000 on the connection. You gotta make sure that we have the quantity of water that was needed during that 10-year period. So during the meeting, I have the minutes from on the meeting is, well, one of the questions that tipped me off is how much water you need, what pressure, and by when. What do you mean? Don't you know? So they don't know. So now they're paying for HDR's hydraulic, which we have requested for several months.
Who's paying?
The city.
Okay, yeah, but this
But the
is,
HR told us,
I'm not questioning HDR's bill, I'm questioning Interstate Engineering bill.
right, we were there talking about it, and I think it's ridiculous myself, but this is what happens, unfortunately. When we assume that the city knows what they're doing, it's my job to verify that before we spend the money, they have the water. It's just like that double check.
Members of the committee, rather than belabor this all night, since you found that there were changes you wanted in that invoice.
Correct.
Why don't we defer this one till next month? You can bring us an altered invoice.
Yep.
And hopefully we'll have more answers on, about this failure to communicate, which is what this has been. But could I have a motion?
To defer it,
Yes.
I make a motion, we defer it to next month.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion to defer by Ewald, seconded by Graves. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Director Ewald, you have the other one separated as well?
Okay, the other interstate bill. Was there a reason we needed to have interstate engineering tell us that we had a leak and we fixed it?
That's
what
the
I-
adjustment of our bills, is that I send them a report, okay, we read it, took 2.5 hours to read it, $400. I don't think so. So those are part of the adjustment. So I
Okay. Do I get adjusted the same way next week?
Yeah.
Can I have a motion then?
I have to add to that motion too, or the correction too, and that is they charged us. I don't know how much it was, 2 hours or an hour and a half to present this material to us a week ahead of time so that we'd have it to look it over. I didn't know that they charged us for the report, but they charged us a week, an hour and a half, I think, to get it to us a week ahead. So if we can get those corrected for
Well-
next month, I'd appreciate it, and I make a motion, we move that one to next month also.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion by Ewald, second by Erkenbach. All those in favor of deferring invoice 58407 to the next meeting, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passed. Okay. We move on to a manager's report.
No, on the steeple.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you for the correction. Director Ellis.
We have two steeple CDs that come due. One comes due 7/28 and one is due 8/04. And we don't have any resolution, but which we should have had with the agenda, but I would like to make a motion that as those CDs come due, we transfer the money to STIP.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion to transfer the funds from the CDs that come due at Stiefel into the STIP funds for the state of Montana indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Mr. President,
Director Ewald.
I don't know if I'm out of order or not, but on the check amounts for vendor name, with the vendor names, it's page 12. Blue Creek Excavation, it says repair on Pemberton and Wicks. Can't have it on Pemberton and Wicks, it doesn't work, so, and I don't know how important that is if it gets filed in the file for the repair.
Right.
Cause nobody would know where to look for it if that's the case. And then I have another question, and that's Northwest Energy, 655 West Wicks Lane, $969.83 for electricity. What is that for?
The Inverness pump station,
Which one?
Inverness pump station.
We just started that up.
I looked at that address on Google Maps and it's right by the Mormon church, so there's either a data entry error or misbilling on this.
And St. Andrews Pump Station runs,
655 West is nowhere near Inverness.
but St. Andrews Pump Station is only $61.71. How can it be $696?
Unless they got, I'll double check them.
Okay, what I'd like.
That could be a typo or something, I don't know, but I saw that and I saw St. Andrews and I go, they can't be that way, cause St. Andrews runs way more pump than.
I'm gonna ask the general manager to produce the actual invoices. for Northwestern Energy at the next month, just so we can look at them and see, track what the addresses are, so we can have them in our brains.
Okay,
Make
Thank
sure
you.
whoever prepares the spreadsheet is typing them in. Can you make note of that?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, now we'll move to managers. Mr. Anderson. And that appears, if you're watching online and wanna. That begins at page 35 of the agenda pack. Mr. Anderson.
Yeah. You want me to go through, because I mean, if everybody has.
Oh, that's true. Everybody, okay.
I do have some highlights. Great highlights if you're ready for something good.
Well, it's 7:24 and the goal is to be out of here at 8:00. Now, perhaps we'll let the directors ask their questions and maybe they'll be concerned or highlights. So let's try that. Okay,
Could I just mention this highlight because it's good? I mean, it's very, okay.
one piece of good news.
Yeah, I mean, anyway, you heard we've been tackling the leaks. And the more we look, the more we find, and it's death by 100 cuts. So we think we'll find a few more. Historically, going back 6 years, our leak, which we call the non-revenue water, this is water we have to buy, we can't sell because it disappeared. So it's been running around 20%. And for 6 years. So we do $6 million a year sale. I mean, you look at these big numbers. So EPA, I'm getting long-winded here because there's a lot of passion for this stuff. Says about nationwide about 16-17%. Our goal here, we like to look at it as about 11%. And that's exactly what we had May, June. So if you look at the incremental differences between water purchases between May and June and water sold May and June, it was 11.4%, which is substantially better than 50% we've been running. So our effort pays off. And I think we hired the right consultant. We bought the right equipment. Frank and the board, your support has been instrumental to give us the funds to do this work. And we found the right people and right contractor to do it. I just want to mention that. So dollars and cents, of course, you're talking about tens of thousands of dollars of savings a month stopping these leaks.
Thank you.
Any questions on the report?
Directors? Director Weaver.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Anderson, with the leaks, we found another leak now, I guess at 2244 Main.
Yeah,
It's blue marked with an X on the highway.
yep.
How many more do we need to have like that before we start considering replacing that line? If you got any idea?
Well, we originally targeted Main Street, I think, because I have high traffic area, having cast iron for the most part. And so it was just, hey, let's try it out. And we are finding what we're looking for. And we have the right guy doing it. And the answer is, should we replace that and look for it? Absolutely. That's the hardcore. We're gonna find more leaks on Main Street. There is no question about it. And every time we fix it, it's $25,000. And it takes about a month to pay for that. So the payback is very quick. Our biggest issue in the Heights, I think, is the service lines. Our service lines are leaking, right, Josh?
Historically.
Yeah. And that's gonna be more difficult to find, but we're gonna put the program in place. And somebody talked about the hydrants. We have a hydrants program. And whenever we check the hydrants, we check the location and service and all that sort of thing. But we also check the leaks. Some of the leaks have been around hydrants. So we changed our a whole maintenance program, and at this point, we have checked, maintained over 40% of the some 600 hydrants. So we're well into the program and should have it all done by fall. And then we're gonna start all over again in the spring. So it will all be checked once a year. It's a big liability, and there was no program in place before.
Thank you for making that change. Director Carey.
If I may, Mr. President, with the general manager, Mr. Vogel was asking approximately when we would get up to that area by independent school.
Josh?
We're just working page by page in the atlas, so. You send out one guy, he's working on even pages, one guy's working on odd pages, and I don't remember exactly what page of the atlas that neighborhood's in. So.
Right, but if you have an issue, we will do it tomorrow, okay? If you feel there's something that's fishy there, yeah. Yeah.
And like you said, there is liability. You see this in other parts of the
Right.
country. They go open it up. The city,
Right.
no water here. That house that burned down, I'm sure that between the insurance and the homeowner, this place is gonna be sued big time.
Right, no, you're absolutely correct, and that's why we have this program, and it will be an annual. And by the way, the city is doing the same thing, so we are subscribing to their services.
Directors, any further questions? I have one. Concerning item number 4 of your report, you captioned an AC pipe replacement project, but that was not the context for my question. Late last fall, we hired Ecologics to do some testing, and they found 3 spots they suspected that they deemed at risk of failure in 0 to 5 years. One was on Hawthorne, one was on Hilltop, one's on Wicks. My personal theory is the traffic loads may have caused degradation of that pipe. When are we gonna dig up those exact pieces of pipe that Ecologics said was suspect? I don't, if they say you got a suspect piece here, but you're digging up AC pipe over here, that doesn't make sense to me. But I'd like to know when we're gonna dig up the pieces they identified, so we can get those tested and see whether their testing is good or not. Because if it isn't good, we don't wanna spend any more money on it. If it is good, maybe we wanna spend some more money on it. So when are we gonna dig up those specific spots?
So that's the whole purpose of phase, divided into phases, phase 1. And once we dig in to those pipe sections, we will determine how bad it is. So either suggest an accelerated program or, hey, this is not as bad as we thought. So that meeting was held yesterday too, just a follow-up meeting. And I will present that. So we have identified some of the areas are ecologic, but ecologic. At that time, this is what we identified, and we had them do it. They didn't tell us what to do and what was bad or good. We just told them, hey, we suspect these are other areas. So we have other areas, and I will present. I have blueprints drawing on the sections. We like to propose in phase 1 and phase 2. And it's gonna be closer to 6,000 feet. So we're talking about 2% or so. But half of it is, I think, about 2,000 or less, but the total is 6,000. So we had a meeting with the construction engineering guru at Interstate, the finance. And my whole thinking here is that just doing 1,000 or 2,000 the administrative cost, the SRF loan, the
But
design.
You're way off you're way off the topic,
Yep,
Mr. Anderson.
okay.
I did not ask about the pipe replacement plan. I
Okay,
specifically asked about verifying the pipe in Weeks Lane. That's what I want an answer on. When
with
are
the
you?
city, with the
No.
city, the 20.
No, it's our pipe, it's in Wicks Lane, not the stuff from,
Mr. President.
Yes.
I can probably help you out here.
yes,
When Ecologic tested this on Wix and Hilltop, they had a black screen
Correct.
that they never had before.
Correct,
And we were gonna dig it up and we were told you can't dig it up now because there's no blacktop.
correct.
It's warm enough now to do blacktop. When are they gonna dig those up? That's what
That's
Mr.
my
President
question.
asking for.
I'm not asking about the stuff east of Main Street, I'm asking about the stuff west of Main Street that Ecological identified. Is there a reason we're avoiding digging that up?
Well, you're not talking about the city's plan.
No, I'm not. I'm talking about the result of last fall's test. We can review it.
Right, but that is not, and I had that in an email for you this afternoon. That's not part of phase one.
I'm not,
No,
I'm not asking about phase one, I'm asking about that piece of pipe.
That's not part.
The,
Do we need to pass a resolution to get that specific piece of pipe dug up, Josh?
no, we've had guys running around checking for leaks because that's been the pressing issue was the non-revenue water. So we got guys checking for leaks. I got 2 guys running around checking hydrants. We've been trying to prioritize some of this stuff, and I realize that this is a priority for you also. And
Well, he's getting ready to suggest a $5 to $10 million AC pipe replacement project. I want more data. And we have the ability to get more data. Everything we've been told is we're gonna run with the data based upon what the data tells us, and we're not getting the data. So I'd like to get it done, whether you have to hire an independent contractor or not. You've got budget money.
Well, we have the independent contractor do Wicks Lane, correct?
no, it did not,
On the west side.
yeah,
That's-
different subject.
That end is east.
I think you got white pins in your office on the map where those
I'll
two
call
black
and locate.
screens were.
We'll do it. I'll call in locates.
I'd like to have those results as soon as possible. The same for the area identified on Hilltop. I'm not gonna be voting yes for any pipe replacement program until we get that data. And find out, maybe things are better than we think, maybe they're worse than we think, but we need the answers. Very frustrating.
Right. I was thinking that Cheryl was also one of the ones that was predicted to
No.
fail in the next 0 to 3 years.
That's in
That's
the,
in the.
that's in this proposal.
Okay, so I missed it when I was listening for it and didn't hear it.
It's those big ones on the big streets that I.
Right.
worry about. Thank you, Mr. Gentleman. Further questions from the board? Seeing none, we'll move on. Old business consolidation study progress report, Director Ewald.
All right, thank you, Mr. President. On Monday, we had a meeting, this handout we handed, Josh handed out to the public and I handed one out to everybody here. The attendees are all the ones with the check marks, some of them were through Zoom, some of them were in person. We had a whole bunch of numbers. Like, more numbers than I wanna look at, and we spent 2.25 hours going over, refining, and trying to get to meet the schedule down on number 4. So the meeting was on the 14th. And any comments to do changes were due by today to Morrison Merrily. Incorporation of comments will be July 22nd. And then we're gonna have a draft consolidation report on July 31. And one of those times there, the committee will probably be called in to meet with them again to make sure everything's kosher and flying and going in the right direction. And then comments from the district and city will be due on August 7th. Based on the draft consolidation report of July 31. And then the final consolidation report is August 15th.
with presentation to the district board on August 20th. Now, these. I'm keeping the hammer on them. I'm saying, we gotta meet these days, we gotta meet these days. Well, if everybody does what they're supposed to, we're gonna meet these dates. If somebody screws up, we won't meet them, but I'm gonna keep on them to make sure we get. It's gone on a long time already. We wanna get it done. And for that meeting on August 20th. I'm thinking this room won't be big enough. So I went and talked to a Adult Resource Alliance. They're at 935 Lake Elmo. They,
Zimmerman Photo Studio?
yep, they can,
Okay.
no, it's the medical,
Oh.
St. Vincent's Medical Building
Oh.
used to be.
Right.
And they can seat 50 to 70 people in the room. Plus they got the audio visual, like for pictures and stuff. What do you call it? Can't think of it.
PowerPoint.
PowerPoint, yeah. And so we will need something probably bigger than this. And I just brought that up. I just went and checked on it and I just brought that up so the board can decide. I told them I'd get back to them. If you say specifically no way, I'd go back and tell them no way. If it's possible, I'll tell them that, yeah, check on and see, cause nobody's there. I told them it'd probably be a 6 o'clock night meeting, probably go till 9. And nobody's there, so we'll have to get somebody to come in and open it and lock it. So the only other place that I can think would be big enough would be one of the grade schools. I don't think there's anything else in the Heights that could accommodate a group of people like that.
So I'm guessing that the technology, it should probably be better at the hospital property. So let's, Frank, you and I'll check it out. Cause we're gonna wanna make sure we've got the ability to record and broadcast, cause I think the meeting will have a lot of interest. And I'll try to, we can do a visit and work it out with them.
Do you wanna go and check with them then? There's Marlene's card.
Yeah.
Any other volunteers to attend with me?
I'll go with you.
Okay, Pam,
The one thing we've used it for, I mean, the Heights Task Force used it for.
Election.
For candidate forum, and they actually set up, like. Water and iced tea and cookies, and then I just made a personal donation, which I'm perfectly happy to do. I made a significant donation, but I donate to them anyway. So cause I think it just makes it friendlier when you come in. They do have the technology. Greg and I have kind of talked about the possibility of just making that meeting on consolidation. Because we'll only have 5 days to read the report, which isn't very long. It probably needs to be up on the website so people could read the report if they want to read it as soon as we get it. But that just be consolidation, and that we have another business meeting in the evening that deals with business. Because I think that do consolidation, have it at a different site, and do business is just unreasonable.
I'll work with the board members in terms of developing an agenda and a schedule, because you're right, I think there'll be a lot of public interest. Just based upon what we heard here tonight.
Thanks for calling.
Happy to do it.
Thank you, gentlemen. Okay,
Just let me know when you're gonna go.
any further
No, that,
part of your report?
unless somebody's got questions, that's pretty good rundown of what happened. If you were Bo wanting to add something to it, but it was
Did you see Debbie's email this afternoon? That Maureen was worried.
I'm not sure if it's not her.
Yeah, it was just late afternoon.
Oh, probably.
But anyway, you captured it very well.
Thank you.
President,
Mr. Andrew, Director Ellis.
the other thing, we've been criticized in the past for people not knowing about the consolidation study. I mean, the Yellowstone County News has covered it really well, but if you don't get it, you don't have any information. I would like to make a motion that we send out a postcard. Things are finalized to all ratepayers so that they know we're having the meeting and they get it in plenty of time. I know it's a chunk of money, but it is the most important consideration and a massive change, and people have a right. People need to be notified through more than just the Yellowstone County News.
Since this would be just basically, something preliminary, do you think
I think it,
that's needed at this point? 'Cause I mean, it's not like a final decision's gonna be made.
I know it is. It's not required by law. I just think it's better communication with this, with the community. It's such a huge move, and I just think if you don't communicate, you're open to valid criticism if we had no clue. Cause I subscribe to the Answer County News. but
We're
not
gonna make a
everybody does.
motion when we get new business, so we're doing reports right now, so. Any other questions for Director Ewald? If not, we'll go to city rate review. Mr. Anderson, what's going on?
Well, as you see Andrew's report, there are two issues that he's working on. And we have gone back and forth with some of the communication. And he's very astute. He reads the local paper about the West End project. And is it going to be done on time as we are being charged for in our rates? And the answer is, according to him, we're not gonna see it. But we're gonna see the expenses, and you were not at the plant. But I'm pretty sure Lewis, said that will not be done until next summer. Well, this rate kicked in July 1st, didn't it? So what's the difference? It's a big difference. And as far as the Heights Water is concerned, it becomes an annuity. That rate stays in there, that calculation stays in there. So it's important that we have a clear understanding for the city that when this asset is put in place and when it can be depreciated according to accounting practices and according to the contract.
Oh, if my memory serves right, sometimes it does not. There was the canal that brought it in.
Yeah.
And then the first staging area for it to sedate out naturally.
Yeah.
That was done. And that's the part for the 12%. That part is ready to go. That part.
The inlet.
The inlet is ready to go,
Yeah.
but it's not doing an outflow. So I don't know, I'm not a lawyer, nor do I ever want to be.
Yeah. Well, when a capital asset is put in use is when you can depreciate it. If it's not in use, you cannot depreciate it. It's very simple.
That's what my CPA has always taught me when I bought equipment, so at the board, I think the main thing we have to do is figure out. We're gonna have to have somebody negotiate this if we're gonna start there, and if we can't get something I think we do need to check with our retained lawyer. Because this is a contract, the arbitrator's only gonna be looking at, did their rate imposed according to the terms of the contract, so before we would spend more money, I think we wanna have him say, I think that what they did is unreasonable, or,
Yeah.
because I don't think we don't wanna spend $130,000 if it is in accordance with the contract. So who do we what steps do you wanna take? Director,
If I may recommend something,
I'll come to you after he speaks.
Thank you, President Esmond. Would you think we would be better off having our attorney look at our contract and find out when the city plans on putting it in? Or pay Raptillis to do it, who's not an attorney anyway, and so we still gotta go to our attorney?
It's a contract, and go straight to the attorney,
That's what I would do too.
and then I think you put somebody beady-eyed like Director Graves on point, negotiate. So, but that's just my opinion. The board will have to make a decision, and somebody's gonna have to accept the responsibility, or a team. And then, Mr. Anderson, your recommendation.
well, as I mentioned to you before, I've asked Andrew to put together a PowerPoint for the board to explain what the issues are, so you know in great detail what it is we're working on. Because handing it to a lawyer, my experience, it's gonna cost you 20 grand, just bring him up to speed of what we're doing here. And what I'm saying is get the facts. You have to get the facts. And you guys gotta be convinced about the facts. We are right, they're wrong. We are not there yet, okay? So the original rate increase was 34 pages explaining the rate increase, okay? Then we had a meeting with them. And there was a number of things that we needed more detail that they did not have. So we received that information, 84 pages. And some of the tables was font 7. Do you know what font 7 is?
Very tiny. I can't read it.
It was just ridiculous to send that kind of document to us. But I was able to do a few things and send it to Andrew. So he has been working with very useful and just further verify our assumption. So I don't recommend the board hire an attorney at this point.
We have hired one. He's on retained. It's just a question of following him. I do think Andrew's the expert witness. You know, if it goes to arbitration, he's gonna be the guy that the lawyer puts on the stand, so I'm willing to wait for the PowerPoint as background because it'll benefit the lawyer too.
Well, but you guys gotta be convinced that, hey, I don't want you to spend $100,000 for me to be. It doesn't make any sense. And we want to do this the friendly way with the city. Can't you see that you did something wrong here? So we don't have to hire. The minute you put the red flag up, send the attorney. All the communication stops. We don't want to do that. We want to work with the city and resolve this peacefully and not spending a lot of money.
Director Carey.
President, would it not be better just to go to the city and ask for proof that what portion of the plant is in service that you are billing this for? Where are you getting the 12.2% increase? Because you're serving us. Nothing is coming out. I don't know if they can use those 2 filtration systems that they got ready to go. I don't think they can. Because nothing is coming out of the other end of the plant.
That's logical to me, Director Carey. I agree.
But I think once we have that, because I specifically asked for a PowerPoint that you guys can educate yourself about what the issues are before we throw attorney on them.
So what kind of timeline is Ed?
Well, I have asked him and he's worked with Lockwood and a couple of other clients on the sewage area, which is as critical. So we were supposed to have a meeting this past Monday. But my goal is to educate you on the detail, the nitty-gritty detail, so you know exactly what the issues. And if it doesn't make sense to you, don't throw the attorneys on them. You know, if you think the odds are, forget it. One way or the other, we'll be paying for that plan. It's just a question of, will we pay the annuity now? And that's what Andrew is saying. Once you're locked in, once you ratchet in, you'll be paying. So that's the whole thing, long term.
Okay.
We gotta face up to it. One way or the other, we'll pay for it. It's just how and when.
Let's do this then. You try to pin him down on a date, send us an email. So we can prepare, if we need to have us, we're talking about additional meetings in August now anyway, so.
Yeah.
We'll keep it on the program, be prepared for a lot of work.
So
Director Ellis.
I have several things related to that. Originally, we were told the reason you wanted to hire Raphael is to sit with you, but not to write something, because it'd be so much cheaper. So for $15,000, he generated 2 paragraphs that identified the depreciation schedule and the peaking hours. For $45,000, he identified those same 2 things in 21 and got the answers from Jennifer. So this contract has been in place since 1998. We have had one discussion period with the city in 1999. in which we went into mediation, and what did we save? $1,800. We saved 2 cents per 1,000 gallons. I mean, his bill for $15,000 has nothing except with our only work product is 2 paragraphs. It's ridiculous. We need an itemized bill, just like we have an itemized bill from Raft Ellis, or excuse me, from Interstate Engineering. We should not be paying bills that are not itemized, not bills that high. And I've asked you, Greg asked you, if we've already spent 15,000, you got another 40,000, it's 55,000. If we win, how much would we save? Because to me, it doesn't make any difference if they start charging us for, because her response on the CIP stuff was, we book assets when they're substantially complete. And I think, and that, it isn't just what's in the contract, it's what's in the AWWA book, because that's what's referenced in the contract, so you've got to prove that. It doesn't matter, the ones, whether we pay 6 months starting next year, or we pay 6 months longer at the end, it's 20 years that we pay for. So there's no annuity there, you pay the same thing. It's depreciated every year. I just question that we're gonna save anything, but we are gonna spend a whole lot of money. So I'd like to see some evidence that we're gonna save something. And when he generated $45,000 and he generated 6 questions, and for $15,000, he generated 2 questions, and it's 2 of the same 6 questions he generated in 21. I just have real problems with the kind of expenditures, but I would like to make a motion that we require that Raft Ellis produce an itemized bill going forward, so that the board can review it.
I second that.
Well, I'm gonna allow the motion at this, just to dispose of this item and move on, because we got some other items on the agenda. So is there discussion on the motion? Director Evil.
Thank you, President Essman. Pam, I think if you're looking at the same bill that I'm looking at, it's not 15,000, it's 1,400 with a ceiling of 16,000.
It's 14,600.
It's the one I'm looking at on page 46.
Okay.
The contract ceiling is 16,000, and that's the remaining amount left is 14,600, and this bill is for $1,400.
Okay, so I read it wrong, but I'd still like to see an itemized bill, so, because it is still the same questions he asked 4 years ago. And he got answers to.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Chair's judgment is the motion fails. Okay, we're gonna next move to new business. The first item on the agenda is a request for proposal for an RFP for a rate study. Would somebody please make a motion to put it into discussion?
Mr. President, I move that resolution 028-25 be considered.
Thank you. Is there a second? Motion by Carrie, second by Erpenbach. Discussion. Director Ewald.
Thank you, President Essman. I think we might be a little premature by a month on this, at least. Because if we're gonna go for an RFP, somebody's gonna have to spend a lot of time getting it put together to present to us. And if consolidation starts going forward, do we need a rate study? So we might be, I'm thinking by August, September, we should have a lot clearer idea of a possibility of consolidation and why put these people. I mean, if you came to me and you told me you wanted me to do a rate study and I put all my work into it, and a month later you go, oh, sorry, we changed our mind, we don't need it. I don't think that's fair to the people you're asking to do the RFP.
For the discussion. Members, I don't know what the outcome of this consolidation study is going to be. And, if there's a willing partner or what, any kind of timeline there. is on it. I do think our current rates have got some problems. To me, the ages 47 through 50 looks like it's a fully developed RFP, correct? You can put it out in the mailing,
Yeah,
publish it like this, so it'll be a question for the interested parties to decide, whether they want to submit proposals. That's what we're asking for. We don't have to spend money depending upon what we hear from the public at some point. So but I think it's okay to advertise. That's my opinion. Mr. President, Director Carey.
When it has no date as to when it needs to be back. It's like open-ended.
What would you propose? Mr. General Manager, you can
Well,
refer
I
to your
think-
staff or if you wish.
I think that the consolidation study is a valid thing, but the city does a complete rate study every other year. And I recommend that we do the same thing. And one of the very important components is the investment, the AC5 and phase one, I'm looking at close to 4 million, $3.9 million over 2 years. So some of those numbers are coming in, and I'm in consulting with the city, Steve, Travis Harris. He's the guy in charge of replacing all the city pipes. So he's been an incredible resource as far as figuring out the cost for the pipe, the engineering, the design, the inspection. So we're developing a pretty good budget. And you don't want to know how much it is. But we have to start it somewhere. So that's why you do rate study. You want to make sure you're covered the next 4 years or so. And normally they're for a 2-year period. Every 2 years you do them.
When do you want to have the proposals due?
Josh, I think end of the year.
Oh, that's when we wrote it,
Yeah.
I left it that way so that you guys could decide if you wanted to put it out and then have a 2-month review or 1 month, however long you guys want to let it float out there before we start accepting them.
But I don't think we need it right now.
The only thing would be is if you want them to develop a rate, to review our rates, reprioritize the CIP, address the projects that have been brought up in the system-wide PER, to consider all those for funding to be wrapped up into the rate study, and then to have something ready to go to present and prepare to pitch next year for a rate.
Correct.
You might want to have ample time for research.
We don't have a lot of the data.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you.
We don't have.
Mr. Anderson, things have got to even your I mean, the CIP hasn't gelled yet.
No.
And that may take easily a couple of months because we got to dig up those sections of pipe. You got to talk with Fogelsang about the Wicks deal. And then we got to prioritize which sections of AC5 we're going to get done first. So maybe we should defer this for a couple of months. Is that okay?
I was gonna withdraw my motion, Mr. President.
Well, who seconded it?
I'll withdraw in a second.
We'll come back to it when time is appropriate. Thank you very much. Item number 2, appoint a committee to study use of GPS system to develop data on use of district vehicles. Resolution 029-25. Can I have a motion?
Go ahead. I make a motion to accept resolution number 029-25.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion by Ewald, second by Carey. Is there discussion?
I have a suggestion on these resolutions that are 2 pages or longer. That we should have some reference on page 2 for what it is. Like page 2 resolution site, because as it is, there's just a single page with a signature. And what, that could come from anywhere. On the bottom of page 2, we should say page 2, resolution 25- whatever. So you have a reference for it.
Excellent point, Director. That's a formatting issue and we can work on that.
Yeah, you can get the other.
With staff and our secretary.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And perhaps your chairman can be a little less wordy when he drafts these. Try to get it on the page.
It's just a matter of sliding one and sliding the other one up.
Yeah.
Okay, is there public comment on this? On this item before we have board discussion? Any comment? Seeing none, back to the board. Director Al.
I would say, I think it's a great idea. I mean, the people that came out to install new pieces in our deck. Their manager knew exactly where they'd been at each time during the day. I just think it's just a standard operating procedure. And I did some research today and it's pretty standard for all government vehicles to have GPS tracking on them. So I support the resolution.
Further discussion? Seeing none, let's try a voice vote. All those in favor of adopting resolution number 029-25 indicate by saying aye.
I,
All those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Yes,
I sent you an email about my objection to this. I like the GPS, that's no problem, but the resolution shows your penmanship. Probably include a lot of other things. The replacement schedule of the variables and that sort of thing. So I think that this is part of operations, not on the board level. It's my personal opinion. I have approached you about a truck that we like to total at $19,000.
It was total.
It was total at $19,000. That's what we get from the insurance company. I want to replace it with a new truck. We have new trucks in the budget. And I don't necessarily need your approval for it, but I want you to know that we have one truck out of operation, which I call an operational issue. Spending the money is a capital issue where you guys get involved. And we have that proposal. Correct?
well, I'm gonna respond to that. City of Billings, the city council votes on every vehicle they buy. The county commission votes on every vehicle they buy. You know, I think this board is prepared to invest in new vehicles.
Right.
At the same level as the city council and the commission. We want some more data in terms of. I for one would like the VIN numbers don't tell me anything. I don't have a VIN number calculator. I'd like to know what the model and make of the truck is. When it was put in service, how many miles are on it. I'd like to see the maintenance expenses for the last 5 years. I don't think you need to go back further than that. You know, I'm a little skeptical of when auto manufacturers recommend periodic replacement of vehicles be based on years rather than use. That's obviously self-serving for them. So I got a copy of the city equipment replacement program today. I'll share that with you. You can develop one for us and provide us the data and make your case, and we'll be happy to take it up.
Well, I send you something just like that before this meeting.
But
And buying it through the state, we're buying to get the savings, yeah. So we have something in place, but we do have an issue with truck that needs to be replaced. And I need action on it.
Would you get us the data? We could call a special meeting and resolve it.
Yeah.
Director Ewell.
Thank you, President Esna. When I was on city council, there's somebody before my time ways, they got really intelligent and they got the city council to vote on equipment and vehicle replacement program. And so if you were scheduled for replacement in 10 years, you had to set aside enough money every year out of your budget to cover that vehicle replacement in 10 years. Fire engines are in an 18-year replacement cycle. The fire department has to set aside enough money every year. So when that vehicle is ready to be retired, they got the cash money to do it. And it works really well. There's never been anything like that here. And it's a good way to do it, because then you got the cash.
Yeah.
And you spend cash, you don't have to go, even if you got to get for replacing like water mains and stuff, the SFR, it's still a loan, you're paying interest.
Right.
And you pay interest till you're bleeding.
Yeah.
If you got cash set aside and you pay cash for anything, you got it made. And so that is so awesome. So this fire truck that they roll going out by the bridge, going out to Lockwood for something on the interstate. It was like 3 years before it was supposed to be replaced. So they had to come up with some extra money out of the budget to cover those extra 3 years. But this is how it works, and it makes everything flow just so much simpler. Because when you get them all scheduled, and when it's time, and you replace them. And so there has to be a lot of thought put into it and program wrote down, and then you have to follow it. And we're in arrears right now because we got all these, but maybe if you start putting a little more in, it'll be there for when we need it.
Well, they're all fully depreciated. And my report to that I sent shows all of that. And they're all over 10 years old, every one.
President Esmond, I would like to call a point of order. We had a motion to approve the resolution. We approved it. We're now off topic.
Your point of order is in order. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to the next item of the agenda. New business item number 3, resolution 03025. Can I have a motion on this resolution?
I move to approve resolution 030.25 to appoint a committee to study the use of a preferred provider plan for employee health plans.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Ellis, second by Erpenbach. Is there discussion? The item was posted publicly. Is there members of the public wish to make a comment on this resolution? Seeing none, board, discussion. Director Ellis.
Well, I mean, I think we all know that our employees get health care at triple what the city gets. And it's an amazing rate. I mean, if you've got full family, you get platinum full family medical care, which is about $31,000 a year. And when you consider that you don't pay taxes on it, that brings that value up at least another $3,000. So there's 2 ways to balance the budget. One is to keep increasing the rates. The other is to start bringing down our expenses. I think we need to take a look at, we knew a couple of years ago we could save $50,000 with the preferred provider amount, and it would have increased the copay to the employees like $10 an appointment. It just was a really, and unfortunately, we didn't get support on that one. But I think it's important to take a look at what can we do to bring down the cost. Medical is damaging to all businesses.
I think I saw Director, you all, who else had their hand raised? Director Carey.
Mr. President, this evening or this afternoon on one of the news channels, they were talking about this very thing. And nationally, they expect 7% increase this year and 12+% next year on insurance.
For that information. Further discussion on the motion. Director Ewald.
Okay, so this is just a motion or resolution to get a committee together to study it.
Correct.
If we can save money, I think it could be really important. I've been involved where I didn't like it when they told us they're going to preferred, but the premiums dropped the first year and then they stayed the same for like, I don't know, 4 to 6 years. That never happened all while I was employed there until they did that. And we maybe had to change a couple of doctors, yeah, but sometimes you have to do it. It saves a lot of money. It's the benefit. Like President Esmond says, it costs a lot of money, and if you can save some money, we gotta do it. We just can't keep raising rates. We found that out tonight.
Thank you. Further discussion? Seeing none, let's go to a vote. Let's try a voice vote. All those in favor of adoption of resolution 030-25 indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. Okay, members, I'm gonna dispense with the items for future board meetings because we've been here quite a while
We
tonight.
did say for new business, we make a motion to send out postcards about the August
I
20th
did
meeting.
say that.
So I make that motion.
We're still in new business. The motion is in order, and the motion is to do what?
To send postcards to all of the ratepayers, informing them of the August 20th meeting with the consolidation report from Morrisonville.
At the location to be determined.
Right.
Is there a second? Second. We have a motion. The motion is now before the board. Is there a discussion? Vote, members of the public. Do you have comments? Seeing none, members of the board.
Now, remember when I went over this with you, I said these are tentative, but I'm gonna try and hold them to those dates.
Right?
So if we don't make the 20th and you send out postcards on the 20th, and now it's not gonna be till 7 days later, it'll be the 27th, and so we have to have a special meeting. Are we gonna send out postcards again? That,
No, you don't.
it's not a concrete date yet, that's the problem.
You do, but the postcards go out like that. I mean, it's not like we need a 25-day notice. So once we have a firm date, then we can send the postcards. I mean, we're not gonna get 2 days notice for this important meeting.
Director Ellis, my comment has been this project is a big one and I haven't seen them hit a target date yet. And, you know, that, you know, judge future results, you know, past performance is not a guarantee of future results, but sometimes it is. So I do believe we may have a number of special meetings, including one to deal with this vehicle replacement issue after the sheriff gets the data it's interested in from the general manager. So I'm gonna oppose the motion myself now. Till we see what, the next couple of weeks is gonna make a lot of difference. It could stretch to September.
I know, but can we, it doesn't have to be a date specific, but that we send out notice when we have a date.
So give it 7 days, and if it's, let's say if we hit the August 15th date, that's 5 days before, can you get postcards out and in the mail in 5 days? I don't think so, because that would be an afternoon meeting.
Brady and I got our card out in less than 24 hours. Got it developed and post and mail.
But Frank, read Debbie's email this afternoon. She doesn't seem like she's in a hurry.
I don't know, I didn't know after we
She said, I have other things to do, literally.
Mr. President,
Director Carey.
in my mind, I think if we did public service announcements, have them ready to go and get them to the radio stations and the television stations, because this affects both the city and the Heights. I think the city would go along with us and put that out also. And you'd hit everybody. I mean, you're probably gonna get way more people than what you want. But you're gonna get a lot of people.
The city's gonna have their own city council meeting with this, like we have on the 20th. I don't know what day theirs is gonna be, but they're gonna have their own meeting, so. But I can understand, I mean, so we sent out cards to everybody in the whole district for this meeting, what, we have 20 people here? This will be way more important, I think, but,
I think it'll draw a bigger crowd and we need a bigger venue. But I also think sometimes we can get the cart before the horse, and like I said on the CIP plan and pipe replacement plan, things haven't, but we don't have, everything hasn't yelled yet, so let's be, I know you guys get tired of me preaching patience, but I think it's needed in this situation.
can I ask for some help?
Yes, sir,
Mr.
Director.
What do you guys think out there? What's the best way to get this out, Cynthia?
Well, we wouldn't care a public service announcement because we don't do radio or TV. Postcard would really help. Is there a legal notification time frame on a public meeting?
48 hours.
48 hours.
Okay,
So you're saying August 20th is tentative, would sometime like the first week of September or something, like if you shot for a hard date. Once you know it, does it have to be August 20th, or could it be this?
I'm gonna try and hold them till this date because every day we go longer is that much longer, so.
Right, yeah,
I don't wanna be throwing out another date for them to go for, but I'm not guaranteeing that 20.
I'm my gut tells me, and I be very honest, I hope it, it may slip to September. People will be back from, including myself, as I'm departing on August 24th.
Early party. Literally
Again,
departed.
departing
Party.
a little trip, yes.
Do you folks have any opinion, you three?
Postcard.
Postcard?
Everybody gets the mail, not everybody reads the newspaper. I don't watch TV and I don't listen to a local radio station. Sorry to the media. Your paper I look at once in a while. So what I do get is the mail every single day.
So on a postcard, can we have the postcards all printed up and then just write the date in it? I don't know, I'm just, hey,
I can't imagine it takes longer for.
Bo can do that.
No, yes. You can print it out, but you have to reprint it. So there's no savings there. There's no savings. But you could still make a decision on having a postcard, just like you said, and just leave the date loose, whenever that is. So you don't have to meet as a board again,
Director Graves.
Can't we just have a meeting 2 weeks, even if it's not a board meeting time, have a special meeting and discuss this with the public 2 weeks after it's settled? And then that give you time to put out postcards, give you time to call for, public service announcements.
The problem is, then we gotta pay Morrison, Merrily, and anybody else on this deal to come twice. We're running right up against our allotted funds.
Director Alice.
Well, the one thing I originally had worked with MDT, which I think is who we've been working with since, but we got a lot more responsiveness from Allegra. They were superb. And literally, they designed our postcard and mailed it in less than 24 hours. They are absolutely fabulous. There's no question that Allegra can get it out. And I actually think I had called for costs on both of them, and Allegra was more solid on the pricing and much more responsive. So I would suggest we take bids from Allegra.
I think we've discussed this issue enough at this point, so the motion before the board. Could you restate your motion, Director?
That when we know when the meeting is with Morrison Merrily, we send a postcard to all of the ratepayers. The only thing that postcard needs to do is arrive 48 hours before the meeting, and I think we can pull that off.
Let's try a voice vote. Or do somebody want a roll call? All those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion passed. So seeing no further business before us,
I got one thing if I may,
an announcement.
and I wanna ask a question. Okay. I'm tired of getting chain emails that have gone to people 17 times. And when you're trying to find out what the original email is, you have no idea because the title is from the 16th person that wrote the email. So I would like to limit it to 2 with a yes, got it as a third one. That's it. If you got any more than that, you start a new email. Because when you go to look up something on your email list, you have no idea where to look. You gotta start going through all of them and go before you find out what you're looking for.
Welcome to the 21st century.
Oh, God.
Okay, your request is noted directly, Evolve. So, being no further business before the committee, members of the committee, please monitor your emails. If I could ask you to, I know you all have lives, but try to monitor them at least on a daily basis. Because I think we are in a dynamic environment and, we have a number of things that could pop that would motivate the chairman to call a special meeting, and so we can resolve it and allow our staff to do what they need to do. So, please stay tuned, and, if I suspect, I don't like the text because it is a, communication with, board members that is not archived, right? But, if I suspect that you're not paying, and not every text don't always work, because not all board members welcome. So I'm making a respectful request that you keep an eye on your emails so that we can do our job. Thank you very much. This meeting is adjourned.
That's when your texts are really helpful when you gotta